You know, to my children, which a lot of my self-talk, videos, books, writings, essays, they're top of mind for me. All three of my children. So to me, you're extremely special. But the truth is the humble thought that I am not special, that you are not special, that you got to work hard at being good at anything, that you got to chisel yourself to become something special. And that when you arrive at creating something special, if you just let it be, it gets rusty and it goes back to not being anything special. It's something that you continuously do. This is why many say life is a journey. Because in a journey, there's not a destination. You shoot for a destination, but the journey is the doing, the work, the journey, the learning, the growing, the movement. Life is movement. We don't stop moving because we get old. We get old because we stop moving. It's not the place that we get to. It's not where we reach. It's what we become in reaching. It's not the becoming a rich man and a wealthy man and a successful man. It's the man you become to become wealthy. And why do wealthy people work harder than broke people? Is it because they realized at that point that getting to that point wasn't the point? It was becoming the kind of person that got there that made the difference? Reaching, becoming. It's not only okay, it's necessary to realize to an extent that we are not special, that we must work hard. I've heard many a times that hard work beats talent. That's so true. It's okay to be talented. In my career, many would say that I'm talented. But that talent seems like talent after 10, 20, 30 plus years at beating at my craft. After over 20 years of honestly intentionally being the hardest worker in the room. And now it seems like talent. Now it seems like, man, they're so brilliant at this. Okay. And do I set at that? No. I beat myself up every single day. Now that's a poor me. Not feeling sorry for myself, like, oh, you're not special. No. You gotta work hard in order to get good at it. Somebody asked, What's the hardest part of this industry labor nowadays? And everybody's talking about the generational differences and commitment, this, that, the other. Immediately, without a thought, to me, was the selection process. Guess who's in charge of the selection process? I am. The selection process, because back in the days, people had 2 or 3 jobs in a resume. Now, people have 2 or 3 jobs last month. Most resumes come with, 10 to 15 jobs of experience. So it is hard to read people now, because a lot of people, if not most people that I come in contact with, are professional interviewers. They've been to more interviews than I've given interviews in 30 years. So it's really hard for me to read people. So the hardest thing is not the labor pool, it's not the generation, it's the selection process. And why is that the hardest thing? Because that's one thing I can control. And I gotta learn to get better and better and better at that. And I gotta hold myself accountable to that. It can't be something that I'm not in control of, because then I'm just whining, then I'm just complaining. And what good does that do? That's why I love the term self-responsibility so much. You gotta be held accountable. We have to take responsibility for what happens to us, for ourselves, and for where we're heading, and for where we're at. It's a tough pill to swallow, that you made an appointment to be exactly where you at right now. And you can make excuses and not take responsibility and say it's because of this, it's because of that, it's because I was raised here, it's because I didn't have a father, it's because I was exposed to this, it's blah, 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 blah. You can't do anything about that. But you can if you take responsibility, oh, well, I made these choices. Oh, I didn't make these choices. Well, I neglected this. I prioritized that. That's something you could change. That's something you could work with. That's when you could take control of your life. You're not special, man. You can make yourself special. You can make yourself seem like you're special, because you treat yourself with respect and dignity by holding yourself painfully accountable, working hard. Now, I heard the other day somebody say in a podcast that they never met anybody that was successful who worked 40 hours or less. That I never looked at it that way, but it's so true. That person that prioritizes vacations and days off and weekends and hangouts and birthday parties and weddings and all this and all that, that's not the people that you see successful. It's the people that miss all that generally become successful. I often say that I'll miss my kids' baseball game, but I won't miss the opportunity to feed them. I won't miss the opportunity to make sure that my wife is present at those baseball games. That's my priority. And having 3 sons, it's more important for me to show them the example of being a provider and putting other people first, like your family, than putting yourself first. And there is, I mean, people talk about balance, and there's no balance. There's no balance in being successful. If you don't want to be successful, if you want to live off of other people, if you don't want to be independent, if you don't want to take care of other people, then you can have balance. I don't have no balance. I've made priorities. If I chose to work as hard as I want, as hard as I do, and as hard as I have, and as long as I have, and miss as many vacations as I've missed, and not take days off as much as I haven't, and I want to spend enough time with my kids, then I got to prioritize some things. It's not I got to work less, and I got to be less responsible, and I got to provide less. So I had to quit having friends. I had to quit hanging out. I had to quit drinking so I didn't prioritize going out and having a drink. I had to, now if I get one day off in the week, I know that day off, I'm likely going to play some basketball with my kid. I'm likely going to play maybe some video games, which that doesn't happen often on purpose. I'm likely going to play catch with my kids. I'm likely going to go to one of their practices or one of their games. I'm likely going to watch a movie with them. I'm likely going to take them all out to dinner. But I know that I'm not going to go and hang out, and that's my priority. I go to work, I go home, I go to church, I go to Bible study, I go to men's group, but that's my balance. That's how I prioritize. Do I work too much? On whose standards? I don't have a boss. I haven't had a boss in a very long time that has told me that I have to work as hard or as many hours as I do. In a very long time. My boss tells me that I need to take time off. But I choose to do this. I'm intentional of my efforts. Am I special? No, just work hard. Just my thought for the day. Love y'all.